Welcome to Agenda Edina, a news program summarizing the actions taken in these chambers that affect you most. I'm your host, Dorothea Marty. Edina was recently invited to join 4 other Minnesota cities in a demonstration project aimed at making the city's buildings, transportation system, land use, and environmental management more sustainable for future generations. The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and Urban Land Institute Minnesota selected 5 communities in October to be Green Step demonstration cities. As a member of this voluntary program, Edina will be asked to implement specific best practices that focus on greenhouse gas reductions. The program's goal is to provide cities a pathway to greater sustainability by taking action in a cost-effective manner.
This is a step in helping address greenhouse gas emissions. So we know there's a problem and we need to start kind of using our energy more wisely.
3 dozen best practices are currently under development and will be available for all Minnesota cities in early 2010. Information learned during the demonstration project will be used to revise the best practices when the full program is launched in the summer of 2010. Other cities taking part in this project are Bloomington, Falcon Heights, St. Louis Park, and Victoria. The project starts this fall and concludes in 2010. Concerns over the effects of greenhouse gases stretch much further than Edina. October 24th marked the International Day of Climate Action. As people all over the globe focused their efforts on environmental awareness, that day Edina literally took action, holding the first ever Edina Day of Service. Here's Edina 16's Brian Smith with the story.
Filling and mailing boxes may not seem like everyone's idea of volunteering. These boxes will bring joy and hominess to people that could really use our support.
100 care packages that we're putting together.
To be able to contribute back something to these individuals who are in our armed services.
Volunteers from Fairview Southdale and Edina Care Center knew even though they are packing gum, toothbrushes, and other comfort items, that it would really make a difference.
Very little, only necessities. We're hoping that not only did we put things in there that will be fun, but everything in that box should be able to be used in some capacity.
Our troops have learned quickly to be creative and reuse.
When they leave, they actually are passing them on to other members there.
Plastic bag, which may not seem like it's real ecologically sound, but we know their toothbrushes and everything are getting filled with sand in the Iraqi area. I think everything in that box will be used for probably in creative ways that you don't think of.
Every care package also includes a letter telling them how appreciated they really are.
The letter actually was from me, and it was my opportunity really to thank them for what they do. Edina, Minnesota cares about them, so that was our focus.
Good. I've always wanted to do something, and this makes me feel like I have.
Anything we can do for our troops abroad is something that we certainly want to do.
Just hang in there and come home safe.
This is Brian Smith reporting for Edina 16.
Edina Planning Commission is continuing its work to help make Edina an even better community. Last spring, the Planning Commission began a process of reviewing the city's zoning code. While some revisions are necessary to align the zoning code with the city's newly adopted comprehensive plan, the bulk of the review process is designed to determine whether other changes are needed as well. With the assessment and information gathering period nearing an end, the Planning Commission held a special meeting in mid-October to share with the public what they've learned and to gather additional feedback.
Well, we're just finishing the public input or the input process, and we're heading into the actual making the first attempts at modifications to the zoning. So we're heading into phase 2 of a 4-part project.
The Commission will now begin working on potential revisions to the zoning code. That phase of the project will be complete in late 2010. A unique program sponsored by the Edina Housing Foundation is hoping to attract new residents, specifically those who might think they can't afford a home in Edina. Edina 16, Scott Denfeld has more.
We've all seen it before. Young married couple just starting out decides to take the leap.
I think we started looking at St. Louis Park because it kind of has a reputation for first-time homebuyers.
Being a first-time homebuyer can be overwhelming. Oftentimes, they don't get what they want.
Edina was kind of off of our radar. We grew up in the western suburbs, and it kind of seemed to us like an older community, or a community that was definitely out of our price range.
But there is a program in Edina that hopes to change all of that.
We heard about the program from her uncle who lives in Edina and knew about the program and said, you guys need to check this out.
It's called Come Home to Edina, a second mortgage program founded by the Edina Housing Foundation.
We took a look at the previous second mortgage program, and being that it started in 1985, the mortgage industry's changed a lot since then, and the product we had back then just no longer coincided with the first mortgage products that are available today.
And by taking advantage of that second mortgage, homebuyers are introduced to options that they may not have considered before.
That can make the difference between a condo or a single-family home.
In addition to its outstanding parks, abundant shopping, and excellent schools, Edina also boasts one of the strongest real estate markets in the area.
You're buying into a great neighborhood that historically is appreciated better than most areas of the metro.
Along with maintaining Edina's strong real estate market, a primary goal of the program is to attract younger residents to Edina, something Nate and Leslie can really appreciate.
We love it.
We absolutely love the neighborhood. It's a very, very young and vibrant neighborhood. Lots of young kids, young families.
With the Come Home to Edina program firmly in place, the major challenge facing the Edina Housing Foundation is simply spreading the word.
You know, people who have participated in this program, loan officers and borrowers, have all commented, this is the best kept secret in town, and we don't want it to be a secret.
The biggest thing is just to get the word out there to the community, to the public, that this is something to use and it's extremely beneficial.
Ultimately, the program hopes to not only help buyers find a home that makes them happy, but also a future.
We wanted to make an investment, not just move into an area for a few years. I mean, we've talked to a lot of the neighbors who had moved in here as their first time house and have been here for 30 years because they loved it so much.
For Edina 16, I'm Scott Denfeld.
A new phone-based service is now available for Minnesotans who think they may have the flu. People with possible flu symptoms can call the Minnesota Flu Line at 1-866-259-4655 for information and treatment options. Healthcare professionals will be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People with limited English skills will be connected with an interpreter. There is no charge for the call. Callers with flu symptoms will be connected to a participating nurse at Minnesota Flu Line or a nurse at a triage line operated by their own provider network or health plan. The nurses will evaluate the health concerns of callers to determine which treatment option is most appropriate for each individual. Possible treatment options can include rest and fluids at home, a prescription for an antiviral medication, or a medical evaluation in a clinic or hospital.
We also want to encourage people that if they're sick, if they have influenza-like illness, that they should be practicing good sanitation measures. They should be washing their hands, covering their cough, and above all, if they're sick, stay home, and so that you're not spreading the disease to others.
Flu Line was developed in response to the first global influenza pandemic in over 40 years. Officials are concerned that the pandemic could overwhelm the healthcare system and believe that Flu Line can reduce some of the demands on the system. It's also expected to help decrease the spread of the flu by limiting the number of potentially infectious people who gather in emergency rooms, urgent care centers, and clinics.
A lot of people will call their doctor first, or they'll call their clinic, and even those facilities are only able to take so many calls. And so to have this additional tool in the toolbox for people to use when they are sick has been really beneficial to them.
The end of October marked the conclusion of National Fire Prevention Month. This year, the focus was on avoiding burns. And while the official month for fire safety may be over, the Edina Fire Department knows that preventing burns is a measure that requires more attention. Edina 16's Marty Dahl has more.
Since the first bolt of lightning struck the prehistoric plain, man has been obsessed with fire.
Yeah, we pushed that birthday cake and the candle right up to them, and at 1 year old, and say, this is how we put a fire out.
In his years with the Edina Fire Department, Fire Marshal Tom Jensen has all too often seen that obsession lead to burns.
Your attention please, first team to STN 2, red building.
There are things that are hot that can cause that type of an injury, things that you don't want to be touching.
Things like lighters, candles, hot ovens and fireplaces, and even curling irons annually send thousands of Minnesotans to the emergency room.
Right now we're very, very busy.
Dr. George Peltier, director of Hennepin County Medical's Burn Center, sees between 10 and 20 of them every day. While auto accidents and large house fires usually cause the most serious burns, it's everyday household objects that do the most damage to the most people.
Matches and lighters, we keep telling, they need to be locked up and put away so kids can't get to them.
Edina paramedics like Brian Hanrahan are trained and equipped to treat most burn injuries.
We have sterile dressings, sterile water that we'll use to cool, stop the injury.
If your injury is bigger than the palm of your hand or bigger than your fist, and that's the fist of the person that's burned, you really should start seeking medical attention.
He recommends running any burn wound under cool water for at least 10 to 20 minutes. While cool water may be the best medicine, hot water is actually a prime burn culprit.
Well, the majority of our burn injuries are scald injuries.
Drop the child into the bathtub and they're into that hot water, and that skin, it's new, it's sensitive, it's thin.
The fire department recommends that all residents check their water heaters to be sure they are set no higher than 120 degrees. For photographer Brian Smith, I'm Marty Dahl, Edina 16.
Hennepin County Medical Center says that plans are currently in development to expand its regional burn unit. The expansion is expected to be complete in the next 2 years. For the past 30 years, a special program at Braemar Golf Course has shown people in the community that golf is a game for everyone. Edina 16's Kaylin Martin has more.
With every swing and every putt, golfer Jim Dodge makes his way along Edina's Braemar Golf Course. But it's not without the help of a unique program.
Well, Sister Kenny program is just a great program because it gives those of us a chance to golf who thought we couldn't golf anymore in our lives, because I grew up golfing.
The rehabilitation program has been around for 30 years, giving those with physical disabilities a chance to play a game others take for granted.
And it's given me new life to be able to play golf in the summertime again, so I love it. It's just wonderful.
Braemar manager John Valerie recently accepted an award from the Sister Kenny Rehabilitation Institute with recognition for giving the program a place to call home.
John is not real comfortable with taking praise for all that he does.
Braemar Golf Course, John speaking.
And if you ask him if he's helped out with the program, he'll say, nah, Susan and Paige do all the work. Not true.
With the use of special equipment provided by Braemar and the Sister Kenny Institute, such as single rider carts, players like Jim are able to make those challenging shots.
Wow, I like that shot.
Jim is paralyzed from his waist down.
Yeah, well, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 1975. And during the course of treatment with radiation, there was some nerve damage in my legs, and so over the ensuing years, my legs got weaker and weaker because the muscles were not able to respond to what the nerves wanted to do, evidently. And so the legs and muscles atrophied, and I just got weaker and weaker and finally had to use a wheelchair.
Even when hope is lost, encouragement always seems to find a way back in.
A little better, but...
If they have physical disabilities, they're welcome here at Braemar. We will find a home for them.
Braemar has just been an amazing host in all of this, and I owe them, as well as a lot of other people do, a lot of gratitude for what they've done to open up their course for disabled golfers. So it's been good, yeah.
There we go. With Steve Christensen, I'm Kaylin Martin, Edina 16.
Thanks, Kaylin. Even though the temperature has dropped and the greens have browned for the year, you can still practice your swing in Edina. The Braemar Golf Dome opened for the season November 1st. The people have spoken, and the Edina Public Art Committee has listened. More than 600 votes were cast in the Art Committee's People's Choice Awards program, and the honors were made known in October. People were asked to vote for their favorite sculptures on the Edina Promenade or at Grandview Square Park. Minneapolis resident Percy Chester took home the first place prize of $1,000 for her stainless steel multi-piece sculpture titled Gear Family Cycle, which represents youth, aging, and the generational presence. The piece is on display along with the other winning sculptures on the Edina Promenade. Fuller Cowles and Constance Mayerin of Schaefer, Minnesota, were awarded the second place prize of $750 for their granite mosaic over concrete and steel chairs. The honorable mention and $500 award went to Kathy Gustafson of Bemidji, Minnesota, for her Minnesota Echo Turtle crafted from welded steel. The winning sculptures are part of rotating exhibitions for the Edina Promenade and Grandview Square. The exhibition will continue through spring of 2010. We've heard from our viewers, and thank you for your input. Beginning this month on Agenda Edina, we will highlight some of the many upcoming events in our community. The Edina Parent Communication Network will host a forum at Cornelia Elementary School at 7 p.m. November 9th. The title of the forum is Boys and Girls, Not Superior or Inferior, Just Different. Veterans Day is November 11th. In observance, City Hall will be closed. This month, because of the Thanksgiving holiday, the Planning Commission will meet on a special date. The group will meet at 7 p.m. November 24th. City Hall will be closed November 26th and 27th in observance of Thanksgiving. The 50th in France Business and Professional Association will host the community's tree lighting ceremony Saturday, November 28th. The event begins at 6 p.m. on West 50th Street across from the Edina Theater. Concerts are held throughout the fall and winter on Sunday evenings at Edinburgh Park. A crowd favorite, the First John Philip Sousa Memorial Band, will perform at 7 p.m. November 29th. Starting November 5th, the Edina Art Center's annual gift sale begins. The sale will go through December 23rd. I look forward to seeing you at some of these great community events. Thanks for watching this month's episode of Agenda Edina. I'm your host, Dorothea Marty.